Shalom, on the start of Salzburg, give no praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kodash. Double honors to the Apostle, Great Millstone, and honest you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh's real name, of whom the world English calls God, Jehovah, Yahweh. His real name is Yahweh. Son's true name is Yahweh Sham, and when we pray Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, meaning in, meaning da, and Sham, meaning names Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai. Real quick, something that the Apostle Tar always says, right, is trade wars, usually lead into hot wars, right? And when you're seeing what is happening in the global markets because of what, these tariffs that Trump has imposed, right, you can definitely see, right, you're going to have people that are annoyed, right? But you also, once again, as we always say, this is all part of a much larger agenda. And that agenda is, as we always say, you shall own nothing and be happy, right? Because the people who are going to be paying for this is the average man, right? Is the average person, right? And you know what? Let me just jump to that because I don't know how much of this article I'm going to read. But there was this great paragraph here, right? It says the Non-Partisan Tax Foundation think tank said it estimated the plan would represent a $1.8 trillion tax hike, right, for U.S. economies, which would cause imports to fall by more than a quarter, or $900 billion in 2025. So basically saying that there's going to be a lot of pain, right? And, it's just a reminder of two things for us here as Jakes, right? And that is that this place, right, we were never brought here, never brought to the Americas for our prosperity, right? It was for our punishment, right? It says Micah 2:10, arise and depart, for this is not your rest. And this is the thing most Jakes don't understand. Most Jakes don't understand that that there's something else, right? So a lot of Jake, they're gonna be just trying to find a way of maneuvering with this new situation, right? Which eventually the solution is going to be given as being the MOTB, right? But we understand that this place ain't our rest, and as Arkham start feeling the effects of this, right? These sorts of things. It's just a reminder, right? That because once again, this is being framed as Trump, right? So people think in America, but ultimately this is going to have a global effect on everyone, right? So it's once our pockets start getting hurt more and more, right, which even in general government policies, regardless of these tariffs, right, that's what's happening. People are being squeezed, right? It's just a reminder that this ain't our rest, right? It's a reminder that we're hoping for a righteous system, right? Because what we're seeing with all of this, how was it? A just balance, okay, right? False balance, rather. So what we're seeing right now in terms of the money system, right, is just straight up abomination, right? Rich and gold, because these are the real riches, right? This is Genesis 13:2. It says, and Abraham was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. So those are real riches. And I remember, one of the elder Ariala, right, he did a live stream, right, one of the algorithms, right, he was going in based off of a video Apostle Tahar had done, and it was basically going into how you had a lot of elites, right, not elite, I forget exactly who, but you had a lot of people starting to buy a lot of gold, right, and it was what was said was this is this is something to definitely be keeping an eye on. And then now we're basically seeing this particular situation, right? We're seeing, as you see in the title, $2 trillion wiped off of Wall Street. Okay, so let me finish this in Micah 2:10, arise and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction, right? And then Haggai 1:6, you have so much and bring in little. And that's ultimately our story here, right? Jake just be working, and effectively get nothing for our labors, because as he starts closing this economy down, which is what we're seeing, right? None of this stuff is by accident, right? We are actually, seeing the controlled demolition of this society, right? Who's really going to be suffering, right? It's the poor, right? And who's the poorest of them all, right? Jake. So it says, "You have so much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough." And this is going to become more and more the case, right, with inflation and hyperinflation. In fact, because I never got up, but didn't mean to read it. It's Proverbs 11:1 says, "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight." Okay. And basically, when you're looking at how this man's money system works, right, is all false balances, man. Okay, so the Lord is gonna but that's one of the things we look forward to in the kingdom, right? Is a righteous monetary system, right? Is just what righteousness in general, right? Because this place is nothing but abominable, right? So where were we? I was gonna get a precept, right? Oh yeah, I was talking about where is it? It's in Revelation. I forget where it is. Right, it says, Revelation 6:6, right, 6:5 says, "And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. See thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Right, it's talking about the coming famine. Right, and as has been broken down, you look into here penny, right, it's basically going into a day's wage. So that's the level of hyperinflation that we're going to start seeing, and when you're seeing this man move, right, you can see how hyperinflation ends up being being such a so you can see how we can end up there. Where I was watching one video that the elder had sent into the chat, right, basically going into how just a lot of American food produce is imported, right? Yes, certain states make you can grow like certain fruits in certain states and stuff like that. However, like coffee is mainly coming from from outside the country. Yeah, a lot of Americans drink coffee, so then that's just like, well, yeah, your coffee's just gone up by X%. Okay, right, and that's just the beginning, right? And you then couple that with the fact that a lot of these farms are being taken over, a lot of the food processing. There was a period of time where it felt like there was one food processing factory going up in flames very, very regularly. Okay, so we'll be this is certainly interesting times, right? Certainly interesting times, and hey, we close to this thing, man. Right, this man here, Trump, man, he's coming, he's being used, right, to bring this pain. So it says global financial markets. Even I was looking at this, even this, right, this whole stuff with Tesla, right? These people, oh, Tesla, I don't want to drive a Tesla, but but these times people will drive a Volkswagen, right, or companies, cars from the Volkswagen group, right, which was what they say is linked to the H man, right? So just going to show you how easy people can be manipulated into a thing. Here it is. You say anything remotely what's the word I'm looking for? You say anything that they claim is remotely anti-S, right? Whereas they'll happily drive, like I said, happily drive a Volkswagen, right? Just go show you, people just complain about things when they're told to complain. So as the global financial markets have plunged into turmoil as Donald Trump's escalating trade war knocked trillions of dollars off the value of the world's biggest companies and heightened fears of a U.S. recession, right? Which is that preset that it's been coming out a lot recently, right? Because once again, it's the time, right? Ecclesiastes 12:3 says, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the ground is cease because they are few," right? And those that look out the windows be darkened, right? Looking out the windows representing, those financial forecasters, right? They're looking at things and they feel nervous. And what happens when you have a market that is nervous, right? It responds that way. Okay, so it is going to be very interesting. Okay, so I mean, even which once again I was thinking about this the other day. Even just the way that so these particular what's the word I'm looking for, slack, yeah, right, these particular tariffs, right, are gonna hurt the American man. Let's just focus on there, right? People say, oh yeah, Trump's the worst, but in the UK, what's happening as well this week, a whole load of new tax legislation is going to go up and is going to hurt the common man in the UK, right? So, people can say, oh yeah, no, it's just it's just Trump. It's like, no, if you observe what's happening, these things are happening globally, right? These different economic policies, are being put in place, right? And you're thinking, how can they be so stupid, right? So they're not stupid. As soon as you understand there's an agenda, right, it becomes a lot more easy to understand what's going on, right? But a lot of people, they're in cognitive dissonance, right? So that's why, for instance, the news will be saying it's Trump's policies. Like, do you really think he stayed up all night writing these policies? No, these were policies that were given to him. Okay. So Slack, I forget where I was. Yeah, so it's back in Ecclesiastes 12:3 says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the ground is seized because they're few. Right. So there's going to be a lot less jobs, right? And once again, you then couple that with what's happening in AI. You couple that with Musk's vision for the future, and you also over here in the UK, you look at the fact that you're having the government is straight up saying that they're going to start cutting a certain amount of jobs from certain positions. Okay, it goes to show we're in that season, right? Despite how it's played out, the end goal is still the same, right? By these different governments, right? So it says, as world leaders reacted to the U.S. president's Liberation Day, right, a tariff policies demolishing the international trading order, about $2 trillion was wiped off Wall Street and share prices in other financial centers across the globe. Right, so is this, if I understand this right and we reread it, right, so it's about $2 trillion was wiped off Wall Street and share prices. Okay, no, this is all of them, right? So it's because of the way it was titled, I was like, right, is it saying that was just Wall Street alone, right? No, but I think that this is this with all of the different financial centers, right? It's lost around 2 trillion, right? It says experts said Trump's sweeping border taxes of between 10 and 50% on the US's traditional allies and enemies alike had dramatically added to the risk of a steep global downturn and a recession in the world's biggest economy. All right. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. You see in certain of these graphs, right? Which the interesting thing is, even compared to like a year ago, I was looking at like the Nasdaq, and like compared to a year ago, it's still up. I mean, it's down compared to like this year from the beginning of 2025. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Once again, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. As we said, as always, there is a direction, that we're going in right now, and that is the end of this man's system. You can see clearly that he's starting to bring the curtains down on this kingdom, right? But once again, it just shows you, when the precepts say, these shall hate the whore. You can see how that will happen, right? That those things are all becoming more and more visible, right? And in fact, I'll just end on that as Ezekiel 33:33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. So, we go on Salakia. we go on know, right, in that day who the true prophets were, right? Because as more and more of the things that the apostles have been saying from a time when nothing was really happening, like you can see that this is it now, right? There's not much longer left. Right, so as always, Lord's without edifying. Till next time we say Shalom.